We are live. Welcome to episode 71 as we continue towards episode 100 non-stop. And now we got to talk about something big because this is big for boxing. The numbers for Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury were not great. They were abysmal. So let's go ahead and switch over and talk about that. Hold on, let's switch over to my face. What is going on, everybody? I miss you guys so much. Oh my goodness. Hold on. I'm already not starting this off perfectly because I don't have the live chat pop. Here we go. Starting it off, of course, with my main man, Ep.71, the legend. Ep.71 with the Let's Go champ. And of course, we got to start off with the other legend as well, Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to...
Let's go. Thank you so much for that, Michael Buffer. And let me go ahead and get to the chat right quick. We got Replica Sloth, what's going on? Or Replica Moth, my fault. What's going on, brother? Anthony Murchison, we love you, brother. What's up? David Morales in the house. How's everyone doing? Yo, how are you doing, David Morales? How have you been? We got King of 47. I don't understand why it is not popping up here. Want to make sure everything is on the up and up here. Don't see it here. But what's going on, King of 47? Let me just hold on. Let me try to. Oh, here we go. We got it. Okay, we got it. Salute ASAP TV. We here. Oh, you changed your icon, your thumbnail, your profile picture. Now it's Pac-Man. I see. It's a different picture. You see how I'm keeping tabs on all you guys? I know who y'all are. Anyways, so by the way, my apologies for last week. I was called in for jury duty. I literally just thought it was going to be a quick in and out. No, I went in. Of the people that they had, of like the 100 of people that they had there, they called 20 of us to go into a separate room. From the 20 of us that they had, they selected 7 jurors, and unfortunately, your boy Boxing Fanatico was selected. This is the second time I was called for jury duty, and the second time I was selected. I don't know what I'm doing. Right or wrong or what have you. I just literally answer the questions normally, and I'm constantly getting selected. So I've won twice, and I've been selected for jury twice, and this is my second time, and it takes away everything. Like, you can't work, you can't do nothing, because from the crack of the morning to like 5:30, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night, you're doing jury duty stuff, right? And it's like real work. You have to like figure out what your verdict is going to be, because it's a big deal. So I apologize for last week, but I literally from Monday through Friday did not have an availability to do anything, not make videos, not even go live or nothing. David Morales, I'm doing good, bro. How was jury duty? It was good. There is an element of entertainment to it, because and also there's a huge element of power to it as well, because you really are controlling the fate of what's going to happen next. You determine what's going to happen next. And I was the foreman too. So I was the juror and I was the lead juror. I was the foreman. So, I had to write the stuff. I had to sign the stuff. I had to give the stuff. I had to present the stuff. So it was fun, because you kind of looking at everything and putting the pieces together. You actually do. It's actually an enjoyable experience. I feel like everybody should at least do it once. I've done it twice. Not because I want to, but because they've just put me through there. But everyone should at least do the full thing once. I know most people like to avoid it, but everybody should do the full thing at least once. Just let you know. They probably won't pick you. It's probably based off of certain elements why they pick people. But if you just go in there and you don't try to not make it, you might get selected. Jury duty. Oh no. Yeah. Can heavyweight boxing be popular like NFL and basketball and baseball if it was pushed properly in America, in the U.S.? I don't know. This is a big question, and this is something that we're going to talk about in today's video. We're going to actually talk about this in today's video because the numbers were so bad. I mean, Terrence Crawford versus Avanesian did better numbers, right? Like, that's how bad these numbers were. Or Terrence Crawford's top-ranked pay-per-view that they had to give the numbers for, whatever pay-per-view it was that he did before he fought Errol Spence Jr., that did better. That did better than Ngannou versus Tyson Fury. And this is huge because this has implications for what's going to happen next moving forward with all of these circus boxing shows. ASAP TV, I was able to get out of it the first time. Oh, yeah. I never was able to get out of it. For some reason, I went the first time around, they got me. The second time around, the first time around, I was 18. Second time around, now I'm 36. Years later, they still got me as a juror. How bad were the numbers, bro? Okay, so here's the numbers that that we actually got. Hold on one second. I don't understand why this is going slower than that. And it's a little bit of an annoyance to me because I want this to update as quickly as it's updating on my left-hand side so that I could select it. I'm not going to lie to you. I ignore jury duty. So if your boy goes, sometimes y'all know why. Okay. No worries, brother. No worries, brother. Top rank plus PBC equals should just join Force team, up merge, partnership work together. Oh, and there is an interesting person that's trying to throw their name in the hat for PBC to work with moving forward, and that's Netflix. Netflix is perfect for boxing. If we want boxing to grow, put boxing on Netflix, we probably grow. Because here's the thing. They already have a massive install base. They have a much bigger install base than DAZN. And by install base, I mean they have more people already signed up and subscribed to the product. So people were talking about Amazon Prime, but Netflix got them beat. Right? Netflix is much more, it feels much more clean, much more chiseled than Amazon Prime. You could get lost in the mix with Amazon Prime, but with Netflix, I feel like they have a really good system where they float the stuff up to the top very, very well. And you actually get to see all of these things, whatever's getting pushed out. And I think that it's good synergy because Netflix, they're trying to get into the whole live kind of scene. And this is their way to get their foot in the door, right? And we know that PBC has big names, right? They have a Tank Davis, right? We know that Tank Davis was able to pull 1 million pay-per-view buys. So if they get this PBC whole thing and bring it over to Netflix, I really do believe that they will be in a good position, both Netflix and boxing as a whole. Because imagine having boxing on Netflix live. It just comes on. It'll be such a smooth transition because so many people already have Netflix. And then Netflix pay-per-view, I don't know how that's going to work. Maybe there's a thing where you could watch it without a subscription, but if you have a subscription, you get a little bit of a discount because you've already paid monthly. And then that could get, since we already have Netflix, we're actually saving money on pay-per-view. This could work really well if this could work really well thinking about it. Amazon Prime is kind of like an off brand Netflix in my mind. I think that Amazon Prime, it could get lost in Amazon Prime. If they come out on Netflix, I think they could definitely do very, very well. Let's see. Adrian Dones, what's up, Fanatico? How you doing? How you doing, Adrian Dones? Went twice, went home early twice. Never been picked. Oh, hoping it stays that way next time they call. All right, let's see. I think fans are just tired of Tyson Fury looking for gimmicks instead of challenges. Okay, so here are the numbers. Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou. Y'all ready for this? In the U.S., this is going to sound impossible, but these are the numbers that are being reported. In the U.S. alone, brace yourself. In the U.S. alone, Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou is being reported to have done 11.5 thousand pay-per-view buys. Let me repeat that. Let me repeat this. In the U.S., Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury is being reported to have done 11.5 thousand pay-per-view buys. Now, that is not the total number because there are numbers also coming in. Hold on. There's also numbers coming in from around the world, right? There's other numbers all over the place that are coming in as well. Every other place other than the U.S., the total amount was 57,000. That's it. 56,000. So it's being reported 11.5 thousand from the U.S. market and 56,000 from the every other place market. Those are abysmal numbers. And when I say they're abysmal, I mean they're horrific. Terrence Crawford, with very little marketing, is able to have pulled over 100,000 pay-per-view buys. With very little marketing. I'm not talking about his fight with Errol Spence. I'm talking about his fights prior to Errol Spence. The pay-per-view ones where you had to have the app. You couldn't get it on. You had to be on ESPN Plus so that you could watch Terrence Crawford. You can't do it on cable. It didn't matter. All of those roadblocks, he still crossed at least the 100K mark. Terrence Crawford. We're talking about the Terrence Crawford that nobody knew before he fought Errol Spence. That is crazy. Now, there was so much money that was pumped into Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury. Here's the silver lining. I don't think that Saudi Arabia cared about the pay-per-view numbers. I don't think that was part of what they were factoring in when they were paying for this fight, because I don't think they expected a big pay-per-view number return. I think they simply were using this as a continuous, promotion of, their whole sporting and entertainment. That's what they're doing. They want to push forward sporting and entertainment, and they're looking at, this as a way to do that. Also, a lot of people thought that this was a cash grab fight, which it was. By all intents and purposes, Tyson Fury felt that he was going to cash grab everybody with a Francis Ngannou fight. The only problem is that Francis Ngannou was not looking at it as a cash grab. Francis Ngannou was looking at this as a way to actually stamp his name as a combat sports legend, right? To start the whole thing to being a combat sports legend. He wanted to go in there and win the fight against Tyson Fury, and he almost did. And by a lot of people's observation, he did. While watching the fight live, I have watched it again, and I still think Francis Ngannou won that fight. Believe it or not, I've watched the fight multiple times. Yeah, sure, CompuBox has Tyson Fury landing more, but Francis Ngannou landed the heavier shots and held the center of the ring the entire time. And there were not many rounds that really swang over to Tyson Fury. A lot of those rounds could have gone either way, but there were some rounds that were explicitly Ngannou's rounds. Round 8 was incredibly Francis Ngannou's round. Like, this man was beating him from pillar to post in round 8, and he went out strong also in round 12. So I still have Francis Ngannou winning that fight even after rewatching it. But hey, it is what it is. One thing that this did do, in my opinion, is it zapped the luster for the Usyk versus Tyson Fury fight, which is not a good thing. It is definitely not a good thing, but we need to see what Francis Ngannou does moving forward, because now the scouting report is out, right? Now we could look at Francis Ngannou and we could have a thing to point at and say, oh, this is the way he likes to fight. Let's work towards beating this style. And whoever he fights next can do that. I think if he fights someone where they have the ability to see how he fought in boxing and also win that fight, then we are looking at something that is a once in a lifetime combat sport crossover story, and with being led by Francis Ngannou. I think that he's going to go into any other fight he goes into, he's going in there with immense confidence after the near win. Literally didn't win by one judge point, right? He had one judge in his corner, one saw it for Fury, and the other saw it for Fury by 1 point. So he's going in there with a lot of confidence, and whoever is fighting him, this is going to be a big deal for them. I'm hearing Zhang is an option. I think that's a great option. We're going to see how powerful he is, because Zhang could take some shots. But also Deontay Wilder is an option. I think Deontay Wilder will be a much more extravagant option, but it'll also work for Francis Ngannou. And if he's able to beat any one of them, that commences the story, the true full-blown story, the movie-like story of Francis Ngannou becoming a force in the heavyweight division. Because now we got to know, was that a fluke? Was that luck? Was that under preparation? Was that what it is? So many different questions to be asked about his performance with Fury. He needs to solidify his stance by replicating that and doing something like that in his next fight against another top, heavyweight contender. All right, let me pull this up. But yeah, those are the numbers. Scarily low. Once again, I'm seeing people saying, "Oh, what were the numbers again?" Okay, once again, I'm gonna say the numbers for Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury in the U.S. In the U.S. alone, Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou did 11.5 thousand. You heard me right. 11.5 thousand pay-per-view buys. Everywhere else other than the U.S., they did 56,000 pay-per-view buys. So combined, 67.5 thousand pay-per-view buys total. They didn't even barely crack the 50% mark, the 50,000 mark, and didn't crack the 100,000 mark. Not even the 100,000 mark. And in the U.S., it's almost like no one cared, because 11.5 thousand is probably the lowest I've ever seen reported when it comes to a pay-per-view show. I mean, anyone is able to do more than 11.5 thousand in the U.S. Anybody right now could do those numbers easily and just eclipse those numbers in the U.S. easily. Anything of any boxer, I feel like any boxer could pull it off. Like, really, like that's how, like, any boxer that is known to any degree can pull off more than 11.5 thousand in the U.S. Any one of them. So those are the numbers, by the way. Yes, KSI is selling more than that. Jake Paul is doing really good, great numbers. He's doing 750,000 pay-per-view buys. So he's doing numbers that are like, they're up there with the top echelons of pay-per-view buys. So it's not even fair to compare him. We got Poe in the house. What's going on, brother? I think people just thought Fury would run through Ngannou with ease, so the interest wasn't there. That's true. A rematch might do better with what transpired and what we know now about Ngannou's ability to box. I do agree with that. I think one of the major factors for why that did bad is because people just didn't expect Ngannou to do anything. They thought that this was just a cash grab on Tyson Fury's part, which it was. It probably was, but it just wasn't mentally a cash grab to Ngannou. He was like, I'm coming to win this fight. So he was actually putting forth his best. He was putting his best foot forward to try to win that fight. But it still seems so low, even for that. I think what has happened is that the allure of a combat sports crossover event has fizzled out, right? We didn't really know what to expect from a top tier, combat MMA UFC person crossing over to boxing. We didn't really know until Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather had their crossover event. When Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather had their crossover event, then we looked and we said, "Oh, okay, that's what happens." Oh, okay, so really, UFC fighters they have no place in boxing, right? And then we solidified that and re-solidified that with Jake Paul beating all of these UFC fighters. Ben Askren, Tyron Woodley, Anderson Silva. And then we just told ourselves, oh, so if he's doing that, then it must be that it's just impossible to transition to go over and actually succeed. You're not. It's such a different sport that you're coming into a complete, like you're coming in blind, basically. You're not ready for it if you come from the UFC. We have to understand that what Francis Ngannou did was unprecedented. It should not have happened. Was not supposed to happen. He changed the paradigm and shifted the butterfly effect. Whatever he did, he shifted everything to where we are now, talking about it the way we are talking about it in terms of his performance against Tyson Fury. So it wasn't supposed to happen, and by all intents and purposes, no one thought it would happen. So I don't think that there was any buzz behind it. That whole allure of seeing a UFC person come over and fight a boxer when the boxer's like at the highest level, we wasn't buying that anymore because we're looking at Jake Paul destroying Tyron Woodley, memeing Tyron Woodley with knockouts, right? We're seeing Jake Paul taking out Ben Askren in one round, right? We're seeing Jake Paul beating the great Anderson Silva, right? So in our heads, it's like, what is this? This is our heavyweight champion going against Francis Ngannou. This is a waste of time. But I've always said that the heavyweight division is always the easiest division for a novice to do the best. Other than all the other divisions. All the other divisions are too hard. They're too technical. They're too, it's just too much skill. The heavyweight division, that's the best division. But on the same token, the most skilled that you'll find is Tyson Fury, is Usyk. No, the only two. Most of the people, they're not as skilled as, they're slower. They don't move on their feet as well. So he probably fought the most skilled person he could fight and still gave that performance. So kudos to Francis Ngannou for doing that. All right, let's go over here. Let's see what you guys have to say. My man said, "Damn." He kept it hard while interviewing Don Cheeto voice. Yeah, man, that's 11,000 is one of the lowest I've ever seen, if not the lowest. I think when people fail to do good pay-per-view numbers, they still normally hit 100,000 pay-per-view buys. Oh man, this just spilled on me. They still at least hit 100,000 pay-per-view buys. For these guys to barely crack, and for the U.S. market to only do 11,000, that's crazy. They said the 11,000 was just the normal pay-per-view buys, and the rest was ESPN Plus. That's what they're saying, because we're getting the total numbers reported. Let me see. Total numbers being reported is including all purchases on in the US. This is including all purchases. So it's not looking like there's a separation with ESPN Plus. Even then, how much more do you think ESPN Plus made? Let's say that this is the case. How much more do you think ESPN Plus made when you have to have an ESPN Plus subscription to even purchase the pay-per-view, right? You have to go through the app, right? As opposed to just using cable. I'm sure that cable has way more numbers than using ESPN Plus. I think ESPN Plus has less numbers than just cable on its own. So that's actually still, even if we say that, okay, that's a thing, right? They didn't get the ESPN Plus numbers because the app doesn't have to combine all the stuff and you get different numbers. Okay, let's say that that's the case. It's more than likely not higher than 11,000. If anything, because of the barrier of entry that you need for ESPN Plus, is probably much, much lower. Probably like 5% of the 11,000 or even lower than that. All right, let me pull you guys up real quick. Let's see. Not the whole world. Oh, no. The other numbers is all the pay-per-views for every other location, which was 56,000. So total 67,000 is the number that they made combined with all the numbers that were reported. That's why their numbers are sus. I don't know, man. I don't know. This is the number. I don't see there being any benefit to reporting low numbers. I really don't see any benefit to reporting low numbers. If anything, if you have high numbers, you're going to be flaunting that. I'm talking about ESPN is going to be talking about it. Everybody's going to be talking about the high numbers. Nobody's going to be just letting low numbers be reported and just sitting back and relaxing. And because the numbers are so low, there's no way if it was a different situation where it's like, nah, the number's actually this high that they won't actually come out and start talking about that. Even if the numbers were 300,000 pay-per-view buys, if the reports that are coming in are saying that it's actually just 11,000 in the U.S. and 56,000 in the rest of the world, they're gonna say, nah, we did bad, but we didn't do that bad. We did this bad. Like, trust me, there is no incentive to stay quiet from ESPN if the numbers were actually really good. There's just none. There's none. Okay, I was watching this guy at Real MMA talking. He said that the numbers do not count the DAZN or TNT Sports. Yeah, but once again, DAZN, barrier to entry. TNT Sports, what is that? Is that something from the UK? I mean, even if there's a few more numbers out there, you're not going to get something more powerful than just direct cable box pay-per-view. You're just not. And then you're not going to get something more powerful than whatever Sky Sports, whatever company that was being used for the pay-per-view in the UK. The ones that put out the numbers publicly. You're just not going to get something more powerful than that because the barrier to entry is much harder. It's much harder. You have to have the zone. You have to already be paying $20 a month for the zone so that you can even watch the pay-per-view. So barrier to entry is going to be too high for these other companies to even do something better than what the numbers that are coming out. Sad numbers. It was actually a good show with surprisingly good boxing. Yeah, but here's the thing. Ngannou made it a good fight, and it was a really good show to watch because it was so high production, right? But Ngannou made it a good fight, but you don't buy the pay-per-view in the future because you see what happened in the past. You buy the pay-per-view before it happens. And I don't think that there was a way to sell this pay-per-view to people where people were like, oh yeah, this is going to be a good show. This is going to be a good fight. Again, the whole UFC versus boxer, I think that has fizzled out. No one cares anymore. No one cares. I think Jake Paul really squeezed that to death with the way he's beaten all of these UFC fighters. It makes it seem like, well, if Jake Paul could do that, then a really good boxer could definitely do that even easier than what Jake Paul did. That is my theory on how people perceive fighters coming from MMA to fight boxers. So you have that thought, you see somebody that's you perceive to not be that good in the sport beating all these guys, and then you see somebody like Francis Ngannou going up against Tyson, the Gypsy King Fury. You're thinking to yourself, there's no way in the world that he's going to even put a dent into this guy. So nobody thought that this would happen. The fact that it happened raises his stock, and probably people will buy the next pay-per-view for sure. Whatever Ngannou does, I do believe that the next pay-per-view, the people are going to buy that because of what he did. You want to be there and you want to see it live when it happens. And I think that people are going to start tuning in because of what he did. Yeah, I saw that on Twitter about the Netflix boxing collab. What do you guys think about Netflix and boxing doing a collaboration where PBC moves on and goes over to Netflix, and then we get Netflix pay-per-view boxing, Netflix? What do you guys think? I think that Netflix is the best home. is the best home to get boxing in more living rooms, better than Amazon, and better than, I think the Zone also wanted to do it, but I think the Zone already has the Golden Boy fighters. I think it's really good if we get a Netflix thing. I think Netflix would be perfect. I honestly, when I heard Netflix, I said, oh, yeah, this makes so much sense. So many people have Netflix. It's such a big install base. Like, it will be smart. And when they do the pay-per-view, they could just do it where you're buying the pay-per-view per device. That's how they could control that, right? If they feel worried, oh, but, people are sharing Netflix's and whatever, you do control it per device. So you could just be like, all right, I want to watch it on my TV, and that's the device, my Apple TV that's on connected to my TV. That's the device I'm going to watch it on. If somebody else wants to watch it on a different device, they got to pay for it on a different device, right? That way you could control it. If Netflix wants to control it that way, that's how you could control it. And I think that they could definitely bring in a big audience that they already have that pay monthly. And because they pay monthly, you can add a discount to the price, because you could just take a percentage of what was viewed and then give that into the whole pay-per-view price, and then give that to the fighters. I think it's just a genius idea to put boxing on Netflix. I truly believe that. That would be so good to put boxing on Netflix. I think that would be dope. Everyone has Netflix. Exactly. Replica Moth, I like it. Ada Repentant, yes. Perfect. Fury is not a draw in America. Well, he actually did pretty good against Deontay Wilder. I believe in their first fight, they did almost 1 million pay-per-view buys in their first fight. After that, it started to go down. No one expected that the third fight would be this amazing clash of titans, right? But again, you don't buy pay-per-views after you know what happens. You buy pay-per-views before you know what happens. So you don't sell it just because the fight is good. You don't really sell it because the fight was good. You had to have sold it before the fight. But the one of the things that was really telling for me was the fact that it was promoted so heavily. Like, it was so heavily promoted. I'm talking about they did high quality movie-like trailers for this. They did a bunch of stuff. The event itself was like, it looked like it cost $2 billion to put together. I mean, the ring was coming from the floor. The stage was moving backwards with the ring coming from the floor. It was incredible high production. And when they were doing the performances, it rivals the Super Bowl, right? It rivals Super Bowl. It rivals the Grammys. It rivals all of these different people that put together these events. And it was put together by the people that put the Super Bowl stuff together, because they paid them and had them come out and do all this stuff. But it rivals even that. Like, it's in that level of competition in terms of the production value of the concert that they put together, right? And then we get the ring coming from the floor. It's just so much amazingness going on. That ring was only for Francis Ngannou and Tyson Fury, because everybody else was fighting at a different place outside of the arena. Like, that's how much attention to detail they put into this entire production. So to see all of that money go in there and just do 11,000 pay-per-views in the US is actually incredibly I don't know. It's bizarre. It doesn't even feel real how low those numbers are. It just doesn't feel real. Boxing on Netflix would be perfect. Imagine non-pay-per-view boxing on Netflix for free. Psh, that's what I'm talking about. Because PBC ain't always going to be doing pay-per-view fights. They're going to be doing regular fights here and there. And imagine having regular fights here and there on Netflix. You just, and Netflix knows how to promote it to you. The algorithm is very sophisticated. They understand if you like sports. If they know how to show it to you. It's a live thing. Oh, hey, look, at this time, 8 o'clock live on Saturday, this fight is happening. It just feels so clean and chiseled. I think Netflix is the best home for boxing. It's the best home for boxing. If PBC has to pick between Amazon, DAZN, and all these different places, you don't got a bigger install base than Netflix. You really don't. That's the biggest install base. That thing is bigger, way bigger than Amazon, massively much more bigger than DAZN. And it's like it just comes with, like, you already have it. It's something you already have, and it just comes with, you know, having Netflix already. I think that it's just a perfect synergistic relationship between Netflix and PBC. MMA is pointless because they knock out a lot of people with their hands. Might as well do boxing and make big millions that way. Well, for the fans, I think UFC is much better for the fans because since it's so controlled, we get to see the fights that we want to see as fans, right? Or for MMA fans, they get to see the fights that they want to see. Like, if this guy is the top guy and this guy is the guy that needs to fight him, usually in boxing, this could take 4 years. In the UFC, this is the next fight that they're going to make. That's how it works for the UFC. So, granted, yes, it's not as, like, they don't make individually more money, but in terms of the actual fans, I think the fan service, they get what they want. The fighters do not. That's the sad part. There's got to be a better middle ground than that. But in boxing, the fighters get what they want, and the fans very seldomly get what they want. So whenever we do get something that we want, like a Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence, we come out in droves coming out to watch these events because we are enamored by this. You know, when Manny Pacquiao and Floyd finally fought, it took 5 years for this fight to get put together. And when it finally happened, it was like, you know, Christmas for us, right? Regardless of what happened in the fight, it doesn't really matter. Is the fact that the fight actually got made. Remember the excitement before you even saw the fight. It was just out of this world. It was something that almost felt surreal. Oh, they're finally fighting after all these years. And that's the feelings that we get. We normally, the fight that we really want to see, we don't see it for 4 to 5 years, which is what happened with Floyd and Manny. And it's also what happened with Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. Now we're also getting that with Canelo Alvarez. It's looking like the next fight that Canelo's going to do, it ain't going to be Benavidez. What is that all about? Why are we not getting Canelo versus Benavidez in May? Why is he closing out, in September with a potential Benavidez fight, which we don't know for sure because they've said, hey, look, it's more than likely he's going to be fighting Benavidez in May. And now that's not the case. Now he's going to be fighting some regular dude. What are they talking about? Jaime Munguia? That's what they're talking about. I mean, Jaime Munguia needs to clean up what just happened with Derenchenko. I don't even know if he won that fight. But now they're trying to sell us a potential Canelo Jaime Munguia fight. I think that's egregious. We should just be moving on to a Benavidez fight. I don't know why they want to close it out with the Benavidez fight. They could do anything could happen from now to then, right? Anything could happen in between. What if Benavidez gets another fight and he loses? Who knows? I mean, he has to win the fight with Boo Boo Andre, but what if he don't win that fight? Like, there's so much that could go wrong. Never forget. Just you can't cook them too long because sometimes you can overcook it and something goes wrong. Just like when we were waiting for Yuriorkis Gamboa versus Juan Manuel Lopez. I don't know how many people remember that, but that was a parallel. These two guys were the guys we wanted to see fight each other, and it got to a point where they were cooking, and then Juan Manuel Lopez finally lost to Orlando Salido, and then they had to do the rematch to try to clean it up. He still lost to Orlando Salido. He got knocked out. So it was one of those things where you cooked it for so long, and now that big super fight that everybody wanted to see, it has no luster to it. Tyson Fury versus Usyk. Been cooking it. Now it's not as big of a deal as it was before Tyson Fury fought Francis Ngannou. You never know what's gonna happen. Get the fight made as quickly as possible and figure it out for September. Whoever he's gonna fight next, figure that out some other time, like whatever it is, figure that out. But let the fight happen as quickly as possible within the frame of where you are. We already have Canelo with PBC. I get it. The first fight wasn't going to be Benavidez. First fight was Jermell. Good. We got that out the way. Let the second fight be Benavidez. If, of course, Benavidez beats Boo Boo Andre, which is not something that's automatic. We don't know for sure that that's going to happen. Friday night Netflix fights. I mean, keep it on. You can keep it on Saturday. It's cool. We can keep it on Saturday. But as long as it's on Netflix, I mean, you're not gonna forget. It's not gonna. The fact that it's on Netflix is already marketing right there. Because when you go on Netflix to just watch your Netflix shows and just hang out in the house, it's going to be promoting. Oh, there's this boxing event November 10th on Saturday. You can watch it. It's going to be at 8 o'clock. It's a live event. And you're going to be seeing that. You're going to be seeing that, right? If you've clicked on a boxing documentary, if you clicked on some type of sport documentary, they might feed that to you. And just because it's on Netflix, you get the fight gets more views. Because it's not out of sight, out of mind. In all these other places, it'd be out of sight, out of mind. You have to have the zone so you can watch the zone, right? You have to have the zone so that the zone can market to you. You have to be on Amazon Prime so that Amazon Prime can market to you Amazon Prime stuff, right? But imagine how much money is being saved through the marketing of being on Netflix. Because sure, Netflix might promote it, right? They might promote it to, through their whole social media and all that stuff. But they're also going to just be promoting it organically based off of your interest when using Netflix. So I really do believe that being on Netflix could elevate boxing to a whole new level. I really do believe that. And I hope that PBC is thinking about it in that way too. No one's going to have a larger install base than Netflix. Nobody. And then the whole Netflix algorithm is going to really promote your fights. And it's going to be a novelty, right? Because people are going to be like, boxing on Netflix? Even nobody even knows about it. Somebody that might not even care about it might watch just because it's like, damn, I've never seen something like this. A live sporting event thing happening on Netflix. I'm going to go watch it. I don't know who these guys are, but I'm just going to watch it because it's some new crazy live thing on Netflix. They've already done live events. They did the live thing with the first live that they ever did with Chris Rock. They already did live events, so they could be doing live events with boxing. It's perfect. Yeah, MMA, the top fight, the top ASAP. Yeah. That's the thing. MMA is tailor-made for the fans. Boxing is tailor-made for the fighters. That's how it is. Boxing is the best for fighters. MMA is the best for fans. So there's got to be a middle ground that both the boxers and the boxers, fighters, and the fans get what they want. But rarely do we have a place like that. Rarely is it like that. It's normally either going to be all the way one way or all the way the other way, which is unfortunate. I hope Francis stays in boxing. Yeah, me too. 100%. He will spice up the heavyweight division. 100%. Hope Francis stays in boxing. Heavyweight boxing has been kind of boring, but this opened up the entertainment side of heavyweight boxing. Yeah, 100%. This is making heavyweight boxing is giving it an allure. It's giving it something special, right? Because the 135-pound division, the 140-pound division, those are the divisions that's kind of taking over. But we still got some heavyweight beasts, right? We still got Deontay Wilder there. We still got Usyk there. We still got Fury there, right? We still got Anthony Joshua, who maybe not great or amazing anymore, but he could sell. We got those guys in there. You throw Francis Ngannou in the mix, and now there's an interesting dynamic because it's Francis Ngannou. He's never boxed before until Tyson Fury. So now it's not just could he beat Anthony Joshua? It's I would love to see how he fights Anthony Joshua. And even if he beats Anthony Joshua, it'll still be like It won't be a hierarchy thing, right? It won't be like, for example, if he beats, let's say he beats Usyk, right? Let's say it's something crazy. He fights Usyk and beats him. Even though Usyk beat Anthony Joshua twice, because he's just this like fish out of water that's doing good, we would still be like, I still want to see you fight Anthony Joshua for the visual. I just want to see, can you deal with Anthony Joshua? Even though you beat Usyk, can you deal with Anthony Joshua? Right? Even though Usyk beat Anthony Joshua. But in any other frame, we wouldn't care. If Usyk beat Anthony Joshua, we don't really care to see Tyson Fury fight Anthony Joshua first. We'd rather see Tyson Fury fight Usyk, because who cares about Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua? Because Usyk beat Anthony Joshua. But I think Francis Ngannou, because he's that fish out of water, it's like a whole different kind of like experience for the fans. It's not just can he beat somebody, it's can he beat these specific people? Can he beat all these different styles? It's much more packed with more intrigue. There's more intrigue packed into the bowl of a Francis Ngannou boxing career. So he could end up going fighting Anthony Joshua, and it'll be just as exciting as him fighting Usyk, and it'll be just as exciting as him fighting Deontay Wilder. All of it works. So I think that he just injected a really entertaining element to the heavyweight division. Really. And he said he is continuing to box. By the way, guys, he is going to continue to box. He stated that he's super excited about boxing. Now he's even more excited from after his performance against Tyson Fury. He feels that he could do really well. Guys, it didn't even look like any punch that Fury landed on him did a thing to him. Nothing. And if you remember in the video where I said, when I was talking about the fight as it was happening, I said it looked like in the beginning of the fight, Ngannou landed something that scared Tyson Fury, that made Tyson Fury be like petrified that he could be embarrassed by Francis Ngannou. And then because of that power, Tyson Fury fought very scared the rest of the fight. Now there's a clip that's going around where it looked like Ngannou grazes Tyson Fury, and you just see Tyson Fury's face light up in fear. Because he probably, after that punch, realized, even though it was a grazing shot, he realized that he has a lot of power, and it could be very dangerous for him if he goes in there trying to beat him up. And remember, I said that. I didn't even see that little clip because it was probably something quick, but I started feeling it in the body language after the first round, or right after the beginning in parts of the first round. I'm like, something's up with Fury. He's respecting Ngannou for who Ngannou is. He's respecting him too much. And that's, if you watch that clip, the thing is crazy. You can see his face just lights up. He's like, whoa, what did he just hit me with? What was that? Am I going to be hit with that tonight? If I get hit with something flush, I'm done. So ever since that, he just was working off of the fear, and that allowed Ngannou to do work. But the crazy thing is, nothing that Tyson Fury threw and landed flush on Ngannou even did nothing to, even if it was flush, it looked like it barely landed. Because in terms of the facial reaction, the body language of Francis Ngannou, he looked like, man, okay, thank you, thanks. That didn't do nothing to me. It didn't make him start moving backwards. You could tell that there was a fear dynamic in the favor of Francis Ngannou, because for the entire fight, he was holding the center of the ring. For the entire fight, he was the one moving towards Tyson Fury, and Tyson Fury was the one moving away from Francis Ngannou. So if there was a fear dynamic there, the fear dynamic was in Francis Ngannou's favor, because there clearly wouldn't be fear coming from Francis Ngannou because he was consistently moving forward. He had the center of the ring on lock. Let me see what you guys are saying over here. Francis Ngannou need to stay in boxing. I believe he will be staying in boxing. Canelo Munguia is fire. Been waiting for years for that fight. Really, King of 47. Really, you've been waiting for years for Canelo to fight Munguia? I don't know. I don't know. I don't buy it. Canelo is truly the face of boxing, a true ambassador of the sport. He gives the fans what they want, a legacy-defining fight. That has to be a troll comment. King of 47, that has to be a troll comment. There's no way that's a real comment. I refuse to believe that. They should put, guys, you can't ask me no questions about Undisputed. Not here. Not on Boxing Fanatico, guys. If you want Undisputed content, it's on the Undisputed social channels, YouTube channel, all that stuff. That's where we talk about it. Boxing on Netflix would be great, but I'm sure it would be some premium charge for big pay-per-view, big events, aka pay-per-views. No, there probably will be. There probably will be a charge for pay-per-view events, right? Obviously, right? Because they have to have pay-per-views. But the thing is, they could offer it at a better price because DAZN does that. DAZN offers pay-per-views at a better price when a pay-per-view is on DAZN and other platforms. It's normally super expensive on other platforms, but much cheaper on DAZN because you're already paying $20. So they could kind of infuse the $20 that you pay monthly and take a percentage of that and put that into the pay-per-view. So they do have that system, and Netflix could do that as well. They could do that as well, and because you already have Netflix, it's not that big of a load on your back because you already have Netflix. Most people already have Netflix. I understand that they got to make money off of the pay-per-view market, and they can still keep doing that. But I think that having the install base that Netflix has is better than putting it in any other place. Because if they put it on Amazon Prime, you got to have Amazon Prime, which most people do have it, but they don't go into Amazon Prime Video that much. If they put it on DAZN, you got to have the DAZN stuff. If they put it on ESPN Plus, you got to have the ESPN Plus. I don't think there's a bigger install base than Netflix. That's the best place. And the way that the algorithm works in Netflix, it'll promote that fight to people that don't even know about boxing, that don't even watch boxing, and they'll be interested enough to watch a live event because it's a Netflix live event. Now it's up to the boxers to make sure they show up and show out so that if a new casual fan, or even less than a casual, just a curious fan, right, or a curious person, not even a fan, comes in and watches, make sure you're putting on a show. The boxers need to make sure that they're putting on a show. Brian Bomack would be very good boxing trainer for Francis Ngannou. Yeah. I mean, he's killing it. PBC Boxing, in my opinion, is the flagship of boxing. I do believe that PBC Boxing has had the better boxing fights, right? They've put together the best. I mean, they put together the Tank versus Ryan Garcia. They put together the Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford fight, right? They got Canelo. They're gonna put the Canelo versus Benavidez at one point, hopefully, right? So they're putting that stuff together. They put the Caleb Plant versus Benavidez fight together. I think they even put Caleb Plant versus Canelo together. So they've been doing their stuff for a while, right? They've also given us the Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather fight. Don't forget that. So they've been doing their stuff for a good minute, and I think that nobody does it at the highest level of in terms of matchmaking as they do, in my opinion. Let's see. I think the fight to make is Francis and Wilder. That's a big fight. If that fight gets made, that is a big fight because it's going to be power versus power. We could see that Francis Ngannou could take a shot. Can he take a Deontay Wilder shot? And what about Deontay Wilder? We know he can't really take shots. He could get hurt too. Is he going to get hurt by Francis Ngannou? That's going to be big. Who's going to knock out who? That's huge. That's huge. Especially since Francis Ngannou is a fish out of water. He's supposed to be. He ain't act like it, but he's supposed to be. So I'm curious to see what happens with the whole Francis Ngannou versus Deontay Wilder. That's the fight that I'm most interested in. I'm actually don't even care for the Francis Ngannou Tyson Fury rematch. Francis proved to me that he can hang with Fury. Even if he lost because the judges decided that he lost, that's fine. Whatever. He did what he needed to do. Move on. Fight Deontay Wilder. Keep doing all that stuff. And you could come back to Tyson Fury, but I don't think that should be the next fight. I'm not as gung-ho as a lot of people. Get your get back, and I could care less about that. Go move on. Fight a Anthony Joshua. Fight a Zhang, right? Fight a Deontay Wilder, and then let's see what happens. I think that's more entertaining. Oh, we got a super chat in the house. Oh, Love Seat Shorty. Hold on. We got to do the super chat for the Love Seat Shorty. Thank you so much, brother. Sorry I'm late, bro. I've been locked in. It's all good. We know you working, bro. We know you working. Keep working, too. Because you know what I'm saying? We want that game. Keep working. But we know you working, brother. Don't worry about it. Can we please stop calling Fury a megastar, please? He ain't no draw. It's only Canelo and Anthony Joshua. After these numbers, that could be true. I do want to see what Fury versus Usyk does, because that could show us if he's actually a good. It could be that the perception that Francis Ngannou was going to lose was so strong that people just didn't buy the pay-per-view. That could be the case. I would want to see what he does against Usyk, because we're going to see that's going to be pay-per-view. I want to see what he does with Usyk. If he does good numbers with Usyk, then maybe he's a draw. He did do good numbers with Deontay Wilder, so he might be a draw, but we'll have to wait and see. I just think that it was so overwhelmingly negative in terms of people thinking that Fury was going to just dismantle Ngannou that people just decided not to buy it. So, do I think that he's at the level of a megastar as a Canelo? Nah, I don't think. I think Terrence Crawford is like the third most popular, or maybe the fourth most popular fighter. Probably behind, he's behind Canelo. He could be behind Ryan Garcia. He's behind Tank. But after that, I think it's him. Because of his performance with Errol Spence Jr. I think his performance with Errol Spence Jr. elevated him to being a star. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. The Usyk fight is going to be very telling. Let us know where he is, gauge him in terms of an actual competitive dance partner in that ring with him, and that could actually let us know how good is Fury in terms of marketability really. Because I do think that the Ngannou whole thing skewed the numbers. Nobody expected that Ngannou would do what he was going to do. So I do think that skewed the numbers. Let's see what he does with Usyk. That's going to be big. British gentleman, agree, British gentleman. The last 7 years, Canelo, AJ numbers show a global superstar in boxing. Yeah. No, I don't know. Maybe AJ's numbers are dwindling a little bit, but I do believe that Canelo is definitely up there. It's either Canelo or Tank as the number one person. Not trolling, man. Go outside. They yelling Mungia. People have been demanding this fight. Canelo is the face of boxing for a reason. He gives people. Nah, bro. I still think he's trolling, bro. I'm not buying it, bro. I'm not buying it. Canelo Rider 2 after Mungia. Man, there we go. That's how I know it's solidified. It's solidified. Hey, Fernie Zacharias, what's going on? What's up, Eddie? Am I late to your stream? A little bit. A little bit. I mean, we're going to end in 2 minutes, but it's all good, brother. Don't worry about it. Francis versus Wilder will do crazy numbers. Hardest hitter versus hardest hitter. Easy sell. Yeah. The hardest puncher. Like, you can name that thing the hardest. Something about punching hard. And that could be the title of that fight. And it will sell. It will sell. And that will be accurate as well. Calling it out now, Fury versus Usyk would do even worse in the U.S. Even worse than Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury? I don't know, man. I don't know. I definitely do think it's going to do good overseas, though. It's definitely going to do good overseas, and that those numbers will be combined. But worse? I don't know. I think Wilder was the draw in the Fury versus Wilder fight. At that time, Wilder was the Grim Reaper at the heavyweight. Yeah, no, he was a draw, and there could be an argument to be made about that because it was Deontay Wilder versus Fury 1 that did the best. After that, it went down. It went downhill. But I don't know. You still need a dance partner, right? Like Canelo's a draw, but you put Canelo versus Ryder, and he only does 275,000 pay-per-views. You put Canelo versus Jermell, he does almost about 700,000 pay-per-views. So the dance partner still matters. And if maybe Wilder was the main draw, right? You can't just take Tank and give him anybody, and Tank's going to do the 1 point whatever million he did with Ryan Garcia. So maybe, Fury isn't the main guy, but he was the guy that created the dance partner that allowed for that pay-per-view to be where it was. So I still think that there's something there because of that fight. There's something there, but we're going to have to wait and see. Can he do that with an Usyk, right? I don't know if he could do the numbers he did with Wilder from the first fight. I think those numbers are just too difficult. I think it was almost 1 million pay-per-view, if not 1 million, like 800 and something thousand pay-per-view buys. It was really high. I don't think he could get that back, but let's see what he does especially with the UK. I'm sure the UK is going to be interested in this fight. Wilder and Fury were the perfect dance partners. They promoted the fight nice. Yes, they did. All right, guys, that's the end of the live stream. We're going to go ahead and end it right here. Thank you for showing up. Remember, it's every Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. We go live and we talk about in real life boxing. We also talk about boxing video game stuff if you want to talk about it, except obviously Undisputed because I'm the content manager and it's a conflict of interest for me to talk on my channel about that game. But anything else is on the table. If you guys want to talk about UFC 5, if you guys want to talk about any new boxing games that are coming out, we could talk about that here as well. Remember, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern time, we go live. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any time that we go live. So until the next one, guys, it was a pleasure. Hit the like button, as David Morales says. Hit the like button on your way out. It definitely helps the channel. It was a pleasure, and I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Peace out.